Yeah, what's going on? This is yours truly, SirStrange, aka SirStreezy, in the building and at your service. Shout out to Biggie. He sent me this video he wanted me to react to. I don't know what it's talking about, but we're gonna see what's going on with this video. So before we get to that, a message from our sponsor.
Hiya pals, Hacky Mouse here, and this video is sponsored by Dubby Energy. It's high time we leveled up your thirst quencher. Dubby Energy is packed with all kinds of natural nutrients. No GMOs allowed, haha, that's amazing. Prepare to tee up and max out your gaming winnings with flavors such as Beachy Peach, Calio Cream, Galaxy Grenade, and more.
If you done taking L's and need some Dubby vibes, use my promo code StrangeJuice to get you some Dubby energy today. And thanks for sponsoring this video, Dubby. Really appreciate you. Get your Dubby drink on. So yeah, if you ready, I'm ready. Let's see what this video talking about. Drunkard.
Did you hear? Your favorite game company is expressing interest in potentially bringing back that thing you really liked they made decades ago. You know the one. You hit the caps lock key, you repeat your favorite brand anytime this company makes a statement on the social...
Wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. WTF Konami, when you go to finally announce Final Fantasy 23, Konami didn't make Final Fantasy. This dude is stupid. Alright, he's funny. I like this guy.
Media.net. Bring back Biofreaks or whatever you're mad about. I don't know. Chances are, if you've ever played with one of these or stepped into one of these, you've probably heard of Capcom before. Capsule Computers is a game company that have created, refined, perfected, killed, resurrected, and reinvented entire genres, and still have many beloved franchises topping the charts to this day, with many more yet to be announced. Almost too many. Do you remember me? Have you forgotten Worlds? In the dark about Dark Void? F it, I tried. The Capcom logo is slapped on an ungodly amount of IPs, or intellectual properties. For every Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, or Resident Evil, there are dozens of IPs that fall into obscurity. Mega Twins on the Genesis, starring two very cheeky boys. Under the Skin for the PS2, where you're an alien who pranks people during the Raccoon City outbreak. Techromancer for the Dreamcast, which is not a game where you f the DVD player. With so many different games in there are...
What?
Arsenal, you'd think Capcom would want to revisit at least some of them eventually, right? Enter the seventh con...
Whoa, we gotta go back, hold on. He was showing some gems, right? He was showing a hidden gem.
At least some of them eventually, right?
Dude, this right here? Chaos Legion? Chaos Legion was cool. It was cool. It was definitely a broke man's Devil May Cry, but it was still cool. Like it had its own thing going for it. Bro, like I don't think it necessarily needs to come back though, but you could definitely revisit this title. I would say your best bet is to probably just emulate this thing, but if they did decide to bring it back, I don't think I'd be mad about it. And then Final Fight. Like, I really don't know what happened to Final Fight. Final Fight was Capcom's answer to Streets of Rage, and it was going good so far during that 16-bit era, though. Right after that, it kind of, I don't know, it just kind of plummeted after that, and nobody wasn't really, like, looking for or thinking about Final Fight anymore. But yeah, no, that Chaos Legion, man.
Right? Enter the seventh console generation. This was the first publicly noticeable push to bring back some old favorites. We got a few sequels and remasters from the Mega Man and Darkstalkers series, along with a respectable lineup of fresh, new Capcom franchises like Dead Rising and Lost Planet. But by the time the 8th console generation rolled around, something clearly went wrong. In a 2013 presentation to investors, Capcom admitted they had abysmal returns, saying they planned to raise game quality by moving more game development in-house to address the disappointing year. Yes, many of the older Capcom IPs got handed out to Western companies, while many in-house games changed direction to aggressively appeal to Western markets. And many of the new takes on classic games Let's just say it didn't sit well with fans. You got DMC basically making fun of everyone who likes Devil May Cry. Interesting business tactic to shit on your main demographic, but alright. Dead Rising just kept losing its charm with each iteration. Resident Evil 6, I don't even need to explain that one. And let's not forget...
Like, okay, he started clowning Resident Evil 6, but here's the thing though. Resident Evil 6 was still cool. The problem with it was no longer a survival horror at that point. There was no jump scares. There was no I'm trying to survive. It really moved away from the survival horror element of what it used to be, and literally became Call of Duty zombies. That's literally what it became. We had zombies with blickies, you getting shot at, and you trying to figure out when did zombies become nice with the blickies and the hammers. It made no sense. But I still liked the game. I still thought it was a dope spin on the series, but I'm so glad that it came back to survival horror with 7 and 8. So glad.
Bionic Commando with that bombshell of a twist ending. He used to have sex with his arm? It took Capcom a while to recoup their losses, but at least the lesson was learned. Simply put, they were spread too thin. And you'd think all that would deter them from revisiting long-abandoned IPs for a while, but I've noticed a pattern. Every few years or so, Capcom would make a public statement. Stop me if you've heard this one before. 2016, Capcom is focused on reviving series that have not had new entries recently, or dormant IP. 2019, Capcom wants to bring back dead franchises and make new ones. And even as recent as 2024, Capcom is gauging interest in older IPs. There are endless lists, articles, and video essays on which franchise...
Hey, hold on now. See, I think I know the cure to revive Marvel vs. Capcom. And it is so simple, and they almost have to take a page from the team that kind of stole their idea and made it cooler, or better in a sense. They just need to do what Fighters did. Like, hear me out. Fighters took the MVC formula, anime-esque the art style to perfection, but they Dragon Ball properties in the game. Freaking hit. MVC, if they just change the art style into what Fighters looks like, and just stay with the formula that works, that made MVC 2 so great, and before that, because even 3 was still it was still questionable, still fun but questionable. If they just do that, I think the formula will be solved, and then look what that could potentially do. MVC versus Dragon. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it, but that could be the healing formula to bring Marvel's Capcom back. Beautiful Joe, dude. Beautiful Joe was a fire title, dude. They could. I wouldn't care what they did. It ended good, but if they wanted to HD remaster it or port it over, dude, that joint would sell. It would sell. At least to me, I think it would sell. And then Dino Crisis. They could do so much with Dino Crisis. Dino Crisis was cool. It was cool. It was basically Resident Evil, but instead of surviving zombies, you're surviving dinosaurs. Cool. That was pretty cool. Like, they could easily bring this back. Easily. And people would flock to it. At least I think they'll flock to it. But yeah. Alright, y'all might need to listen to me, Capcom, on this one with the MVC art style shift to an anime-esque Street Fighter vs. Capcom. Yeah, you should do it.
Franchises just need to be next in line for the coveted recap treatment, which is a term I just made up, meaning returning Capcom franchise. Just shortened to recap. Just roll with it. But do those franchises truly deserve to return just because a few diehard fans won't shut the hell up about it? Or are there even more worthy games that need to come back first? Well, hi. I'm Dylan. I also go by Drunkard. And I plan to get to the bottom of this Capcom conundrum once and for all. So without further ado, here's the video you clicked on, but the one you're actually watching is the definitive Capcom franchise that actually deserves a comeback, more than the others. And or why you should stop asking for one game until a more deserving one gets announced first. Or something. But all that wouldn't fit on the thumbnails.
That's one hell of a title. I don't even think if this was the title I'd click on it. But I didn't even know this guy existed, so once again, you need to be Cash Apping Biggie some ducats, Mr. Drunkard. Yeah.
Also, you get this. You still clicked it though. To find out which franchise people should actually bug Capcom about, we're gonna need a few guidelines. Rule 1. The IP in question must be a dormant franchise. This is the golden rule, never to be broken. The average console gap between Nintendo consoles is around 5 years, but both PlayStation and Xbox are above a 6-year gap. So to be safe, we'll go with about 6 years of inactivity for a Capcom franchise to be considered dormant. As of this writing, that means any Capcom game released after 2018 is disqualified, as well as any announced games that aren't out yet as of whenever this video gets uploaded. I don't know, it was supposed to be in June. And while we're at it, we might as well rip that band-aid off right now. Devil May Cry, Mega Man Zero, Ghosts and Goblins, Ace Attorney, Monster Hunter, Mega Man Battle Network, Mega Man X, Street Fighter, Dragon's Dogma. And it feels redundant to even mention Resident Evil because there's been a new RE release for every single year since 2017, so no need to tell Capcom to make more. Rest assured, they're going to. Let's get back on track. Rule 2. Only official North American console releases qualify. This entire thing is from a Western perspective, so for the sake of my sanity, and so this video isn't longer than a feature-length film, I'm only gonna consider North American officially released Capcom games. No Japanese or European exclusives, no arcade games, and the IP needs to have at least 2 separate mainline entries to be considered a franchise. Meaning, a game with multiple updates or re-releases is still just one game. Rule 3. Must be solely owned by Capcom. If it's not an original Capcom video game first, or it's based on another existing property, it's out. That means no Disney characters, no movies, no anime, no annoying food mascots, no comics, no IPs owned by other game companies.
That's
Get it?
understandable.
You get it. Having to deal with licensing issues has burned Capcom in the past, and getting multiple massive corporations to reach a mutual understanding is like pulling teeth. So unless Capcom is guaranteed a return of investment, licensed properties are going to be considered less deserving of the recap treatment. It also doesn't count if someone else holds rights to the majority of the franchise, like Clock Tower or Zelda. Sure, Capcom made Zelda's Oracles of the Minish Caps or what.
And they were all pretty cool, not gonna lie. I was still shocked to see that Capcom was responsible for these 3 titles. I was like, oh, okay, Capcom.
Whatever. But that doesn't make Zelda a Capcom property. I'm also going to disqualify collaboration games where there are 1 or more companies other than Capcom to avoid further licensing hell. This means your cross and versus games like Tekken Cross Street Fighter, Namco vs Capcom, and definitely not touching Project Cross Zone because holy shit, how are there more than one of these?
And you know what? This joint was actually pretty cool. Like I found out way later that this game existed. Really cool crossover if I'm being honest. I never did finish it, but the concept behind the game, solid, pretty dope. They should port this.
Rule 4. I hold the right to make exceptions, break the rules, and if needed, skip games and IPs that I deem unnecessary or irrelevant. This mostly acts as a catch-all for situations that don't fit the mold or when extenuating circumstances surround the franchise in question, like spin-offs, compilations, or other. I should also reiterate that a recap means the franchise gets a new mainline game or a re-release. This includes collections. With all that out of the way, let's kick things off with the crowd favorite, Darkstalkers, or Vampire something or other. This franchise is intimidating because the fanbase is very vocal about it in comment sections all across the webs. 3 mainline games and 3 official North American re-releases, with the last standalone release being Darkstalkers Resurrection in 2013. This game in particular is a good example of Capcom using sales as a
You know what? That's interesting because the only time we'll get to see like Darkstalker characters would be in the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighters. But other than that, their standalone title never came back. Wow, 2013? Wow. Okay.
metric of interest in a franchise, meaning they were open to giving Darkstalkers another chance to prove that a new entry in the series would be profitable. Whatever that sales number was, they didn't hit it, and thus, plans to proceed with a new sequel was put back in the let it cook pile. There are other similar instances, but I'll use this Darkstalkers example to convey how recapping an IP might be dependent on this tactic moving forward. Surprisingly, Capcom made a few horror games that don't rhyme with President Weevil, but Haunting Ground is just one game, and Clock Tower 3 was the only one in the series Capcom owns the rights to.
And I'm gonna keep it a masterball with you. I've never heard of these titles at all, and I think that's probably due to Resident Evil like pretty much dominating their horror game catalog. So I'm completely in the dark with these Haunting Ground and Clock Tower. And there's a 3. I never heard of this game. I never heard of this. Now let me know down in the comments below. Like, I recognize these and were they fire? Let me know.
Believe me, if I could combine the two, I would. And put it into the Never Gonna Happen Capcom Horror Collection Volume 1! Fuck, I'm a genius! It was kind of implied before, but Capcom really has no reason to compete with themselves. Meaning, if they have a game series with record high sales numbers every year, why would they make a game in the same genre with less name recognition? If anything, you're more likely to get a new Darkstalkers if it's called Street Fighter Vampire Edition. If there's something Capcom definitely understands, it's branding. And if you're still confused why Capcom would give an existing name to a completely different game, well, just wait till you get to the Mega Man section. That ought to sort you out. Dino Crisis, released in 1999 during peak RE fever, and at the time was considered as a Resident Evil clone, but instead of zombies, it's just filled with Dinos Pomonis. These little bastards are the main / only differentiator.
Yeah, I was just saying this when he showed that other picture with the Marvel vs. Capcom and the Beautiful Joe. There's no reason why this would not be wanted. Dino Crisis was a pretty solid game, and yeah, it played like Resident Evil, but instead of surviving zombies, you're surviving dinosaurs. And I'm not mad at that. They could easily bring this back, especially with how many times they revamped Resident Evil. They redid 2 and 3, and it was fire. Just imagine, for those that remember how these first 2 games went, but they put a new spin and touch on it. Fire, bro.
To the Resident Evil formula. That's not a good thing if you don't want to compete with Resident Evil and potentially take the spotlight away. You could argue, no, you big dumb stupid. DC didn't have pre-rendered backgrounds, and Capcom said it's not a survival horror game, but a panic horror game, so it's completely different. That basically means it's meant to be more tense and frantic, kind of like the beginning of Resident Evil 4. Oh, but it's not Resident Evil. It was also developed by the same team who made Resident Evil, but it's definitely nothing like Resident Evil.
It's absolutely like Resident Evil. Like I said, the only difference is instead of surviving zombies and other crazy bio-created creatures, you're dealing with dinos.
Okay, it's not. So we can all breathe a sigh of relief knowing that a new Dino Crisis will absolutely not compete with Resident Evil. I'd say you could turn it in.
I mean, it wouldn't, because it's even though it plays the same, it's its own beast, respectfully.
Into an action game, but then you might compete with Monster Hunter. And should I bother mentioning Exoprimal? No? Good. Dino Crisis had 3 mainline games total, with the third.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know there was a 3. Like, I remember 2, and I guess that thing right there is the reason why I never heard of it. It was exclusive to Xbox. Wow. I never knew. Damn, I wonder, was it any good? Well, I guess he's gonna say something about it, but yeah.
Third receiving the Jason X treatment exclusive to the Xbox in 2003. Woof. Besides some digital PS1 versions popping up for a minute, and will be gone forever soon, so who gives a shit? The series died in space, and we need to get those dinos back on Earth.
Okay. See. I'm gonna make this statement, right? I'm gonna make this statement. When it comes to horror games or horror movies, I'm gonna make this a strange rule. Strange rule for horror genre stuff, okay? If your horror story started on Earth, it needs to stay on Earth, okay? soon as you start going in space, like if your horror didn't start in space, it does not belong in space. I.e., Jason in space. Well, why the freak is a slasher horror dude in space? Well, how did he even get up there? You know what I'm saying? So you're putting dinosaurs in space. No wonder that game died. No wonder I heard nothing about it, because you put something that started on planet Earth in space. Don't do that. If your horror story didn't start in space, then don't go to space. Stay on Earth. And I could almost say vice versa, but no, the rules is different for space. If you started in space and you came to Earth, that's kind of fire, i.e. aliens and Predator. That twist on everything is the exception to the rule. But starting on Earth and going to space, don't do that.
Earth where they belong. In that hypothetical Capcom horror collection. Come on, how is that not at the top of your to-do list, Capcom? Will we ever get away from obvious Resident Evil comparisons? Jeez.
What are you about to talk about?
ONIKUMA is mostly considered as Resident Evil 6.
Yo. How could I forget about ONIKUMA? How could I forget? They could easily bring this back. Yo, they could bring this back and they could... The possibilities are endless. They could HD remaster this series, or they could remake it. I don't... The many times they revamped and redid Resident Evil, they could easily do that to Dino Crisis and this. This would be fire. ONIKUMA was fire, dude. I know I played the first 3. I know there was a 4th one, but I don't remember what was going on in the 4th one or who the main character is or anything. I don't even remember playing it. I think I saw it, but I never played it. And then they had a spin-off. They had a fighting game, and I never played that either. But for what I've seen in videos, the joint was kind of fire. But yo, he's right. This was literally Resident Evil, but in a Japan Edo time period, and your main man's Samanosuke was dealing with demons. He was fighting and killing demons, and he, bro, this was fire. They could easily bring this back. How could I forget about ONIKUMA?
Samurai Edition, back when it launched in 2001. It received 4 mainline entries, a few spin-offs, and a re-release of the first game.
Yeah, Dawn of Dreams, yeah, and then he just popped that spin off the fighting game, yeah. But hold on, they redid it for the Switch? Huh? Nah. Please hold. My system got an update? Hurry up, Switch, I'm trying to see something. Cause this man just opened up a huge can of worms for yours truly. Okay, let me see here. Yo, it's here, and that joint is $20. Hey, man. And that joint don't look bad either. Hey, man. ONIKUMA didn't age bad at all. Comments down below if you want to see an ONIKUMA gameplay in the near future. I need to know right now. Tell me right now. Tell me. Yeah, tell me.
Game in 2018. A collection of at least the first 3 games would be the obvious choice to make, and I think most fans would be okay with that. But if you're clamoring for a big budget built from the ground up recapping of ONIKUMA, an IP steeped in ancient Japanese mythology complete with samurai, ninjas, or a third example I can't think of, then chances are you're either broke or you're more spoiled than an OG Mega Man fan. How many high-profile games have released over the past 6 years that have featured those exact themes? Sekiro,
Never played Sekiro. Neo I've heard of, but I never...
Neo, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima was fire, but Ghost of Tsushima was dealing with real people and not demons.
Tsushima, Rise of Ronin.
I still haven't played Rise of Ronin, but from what I understand, you're still dealing with humans and not demons.
The next Assassin's Creed coming out, f***ing Yakuza. And don't get me wrong, I love this setting and some of those games are my all-time favorites. But would Onimusha really stand out with the market being so oversaturated with themes of ancient Japanese history and folklore?
Yes, it will. Easy. It's Samanosuke. It's Onimusha. It's samurai fighting demons. It would, I promise you it would fit in. Like I said, let me know down in the comments. Onimusha, bro.
Okami is an adventure game steeped in Japanese history and folklore, and is the
title I never got into. I heard great things about Okami. I don't even know how it plays, but it's been a long time. Like, they could easily bring this back too.
only Capcom developed Zelda game that Nintendo doesn't own. Despite me having 2 copies of this game, I still have yet to try it because I see the how long to beat page and get too intimidated to actually sit my fidgety ass down and play the damn thing. Though I am glad to own the version with the IGN logo on the cover that Capcom was too busy to properly edit out. You see it? You can't not see it now. It received 2 games total, with the first getting a re-release or 2 as late as 2017 for modern platforms. Like Onimusha, it doesn't feel as neglected as other IPs we've talked about. I'm sure if we got a revamped version of Okami, similar to what Breath of the Wild was for Zelda, it would do pretty well. But again, the overcrowded open world genre mixed with Japanese mythology, following current trends like that have bit Capcom in the ass before. Need proof? Alright, fine.
Okay, but before he continues with that though, what do y'all think? For those that has played Okami, do you think that if they did bring it back, it would have a hard time, doing well as far as sales? In the limelight of titles like Tears of the Kingdom and so on and so forth? Let me know, because I think if the fan base is strong enough and they really rock with it like I think they do, I think it'll do well.
Y'all remember Lost Planet? If you're like me, you said, yeah, the orange goo-filled snowbugs, right? With the mechs or some shit? And you'd be right. But there were actually 3 of these third-person shooters.
Yeah, and see, when the sequel came out, I remember vaguely playing the sequel, and I was not feeling it like as much as I was feeling the first game. It was something about that first title that was just fire, and I didn't even know there was a 3. There was a 3?
Shooters that apparently get out of the snow in the second game, only to go right back to the snow in the final game in 2013. This, like Dead Rising, was one of the final nails in Capcom's Western-era coffin, because they just didn't know what to do with the series. It started out as Starship Troopers in a winter wonderland, but to follow the Western trends at the time, ended up as Gears of War in a winter wonderland. Definitely on the lower end of the recap pecking order, but Helldivers 2 proved that people still love killing Starship Troopers-esque bugoids, so maybe
did give Helldivers 2. I'm surprised there's even a 2 of that. I didn't even know there was 1. But yeah, I'm kind of mixed up about not giving Helldivers 2 a fair shake. I mean, it did have that same vein as Starship Troopers, just like Lost Planet was. Like, that was the mindset it put me in. But I don't know, man. I'm not sure. A lot of people had a blast playing Helldivers then, and if it's still a thing, I don't know if they stopped the service on the game or not, but if it's still going, people still rock with it, I guess. I don't know.
maybe they could go further in that direction, but play up the mech portion of the franchise. I mean, unless, of course, there is somehow another more deserving Capcom game exclusively involving mechs. Steel Battalion deserves a shot at redemption way more than Lost Planet. There, I said it. Big f***off controller / cockpit with 40 buttons or whatever. I think there was even one for the windshield wipers. But the intensity of the mech battles were unmatched because of the added immersion. 2 Xbox titles were released before Capcom realized not everybody can afford that much plastic or has the space for it. Unless it's an entire band's worth of instruments, of course. But in 2012, they figured they would go from expensive controllers to no controllers with Steel Battalion Heavy Armor, exclusively for the Xbox Kinect. Woof. Well, no one.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds like that just totally died. Solid idea still. It could be done, but in this day and age, you could easily throw this title in one of these. You put that joint in the VR space and you might have some serious gold there. So it's not totally dead. It could still be brought back. You just have to do it like that. But for them to have tried to do that with the Kinect, not it.
Wonder it died. You got rid of the controller, the novelty, and the functionality. The only way I could see the series returning is either a retooled version meant for a more traditional controller, or go even further with the immersive aspects and make Steel Battalion VR. But with the way Sony is handling their VR promises, I doubt Capcom's willing to make another exclusive PSVR 2 game anytime soon. God, I hope I'm wrong about that. Resident Evil VR is dope. We're getting closer to the platforming, side-scrolling, beat-em-uppy, shmuppy, miscellaneous section of the video, but before I do, a moment of silence for the RPG genre.
Yeah, because
I'm not talking about action with RPG elements. I'm talking turn-based, random battles, multiple party members, and the only Capcom IP to fit that mold is none other than Breath of Fire.
Yo. Bro, imagine the look on my face when I got a hold of Breath of Fire and saw that this was a Fire RPG title that did not have the words Square at the bottom. Because let's not front out like Square was not dominating the RPG scene during that time. Square had it on lock. If it was an RPG, most without a doubt, Square's name was on the bottom of that bad boy. But no, we had Breath of Fire and it said Capcom. And when you turned that joint on, you was blown away. Music was dope. The concept and the story was dope. Like bro, the first 4 games was fire. When the 5th one came out, I don't even know what the hell they was thinking or what happened or I don't know. That shouldn't have happened. It was doing good. It was doing good for the first 4, and then when they decided to that art style, like I just don't agree with the art style or the creative lane that they was trying to go to with that one. I don't know what they were thinking, but bro, you don't even have to do much to bring this back. As a matter of fact, they could easily take a page from Square's book. They could take a page from Square's book in 2.5D for the first 4 titles of this game. Easy. If they wanna go the full remake route, they could. I wouldn't be mad at all because Breath of Fire was hard. It was hard. One of the best slept on hidden gems in RPG history. Breath of Fire should definitely come back. It would be so dope, bro. It would be fire. Yeah, bro. HD remaster or HD remake totally if you wanna go that route. But if I'm being honest, you don't even gotta do that, bro. Just 2.5D this bad boy. Touch up the visuals a little bit, and yes, sir. Fans of this title would be so happy to see this return. Factory. I'm like, bro. No, Chief. No. Bring this back. Bring this all the way back, bro. Come on, Capcom. Yeah, Capcom sitting on some gems, man.
As someone who has never played a game in the series, it's still clear old BOF has been neglected for far too long. In the age of an old school RPG renaissance, with the 2D HD remakes and the classic inspired indies, it is shocking that the only thing Capcom allowed from their beloved franchise is some Japanese only mobile games and a couple earlier titles available on Nintendo Switch Online. For the record, I do not count games on a subscription service as an official release. I'm starting to feel like a broken record here, but why not just give us a collection of the first 4 of the 5 total games?
Not a bad idea. I wouldn't be mad at this. I wouldn't be mad at this at all. You know what? Whoa! Okay, I'm just now seeing this. Square's name was on this cover. And I'm just now also thinking Breath of Fire is on here right now in the Super Nintendo library, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, let's take a look-see. Yep. There it is. Hold on. Y'all can't see it, but y'all can barely see it, but yep, there it is. Along with, let me highlight it. Along with, I know that sucks, you can't see it, but the sequel is on there too. Whoa, didn't know that. So yeah, you could be easily enjoying the first 2 titles on the Switch right now. But a collector's edition for the first 4? That wouldn't be bad, bro. That would not be bad. That wouldn't be bad at all. Wow, bring this back.
You can let the 5th stay in 2002,
Yeah,
but everyone
that's
else
out
is
here.
just fine releasing all their beloved RPGs. What's Capcom's excuse? The sales.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Sengoku Basara sold more units than Breath of Fire. And if you're asking me, what is Sengoku Basara? Well, exactly. This one's gonna be a tough sell for Capcom. Another game that could tick at least a couple boxes in the RPG genre is one of the spin-offs of the Ghosts and Ghouls and Goblins and Gremlins and Goopers Gargoyles quest. It started on the Game Boy and had top-down explorable maps akin to RPGs at the time, complete with random encounters, only they shifted to a 2D platformer rather than a turn-based party battle. By the 3rd game, we had a Mode 7 explorable hub world with upgrades and secrets hidden throughout the side-scroll.
Yo, I remember when I played Demon's Crest, I was like, yo, this is pretty dope. And then, I realized that, yo, this is the character that you be fighting against when you're playing Ghouls and Goblins. But they made a whole game revolved around him. And that joint was cool. The only time we saw him come back was in, like, the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Yo, they could easily revamp this dude, for sure, because they already revamped Ghouls and Goblins.
Scrolling segments. That was 30 years ago.
Wow. 30 years ago, and y'all never came back to this? Hey, yo, Capcom, I'm gonna need y'all to stop sleeping on y'all's gems, bro. I strongly believe there's still a fan base for this title, and if y'all brought this back, people will flock fast.
Might be time to put some of those into that Breath of Fire collection you're totally making just to be safe. Just change the name to Capcom RPG Collection and nobody will notice. Or make a Grab by the Gobos collection and throw them in there. Along with Maximo is essentially the 3D action-adventure version of Ghosts and Gadgets and it, the franchise that starts with a G. It had 2 Jak and Daxter-ass PS2 games in the early 2000s, where they remain to this very day. In all seriousness, if we just got a definitive G-series collection with all these spin-offs in it, I really do think it'll reach a wider audience that will give them the appreciation they deserve. But not as much as this next one. Repeat after me. Henshin.
I was, bro, I was just saying, Beautiful Joe could easily come back. They could, it don't matter. They could either port this, the first 2, or they could touch it up. They could give us an HD remake of the game. Either or, I wouldn't be upset at all. This was a fire game. Fire title. Dope.
Henshin a motherfucking go-go, bitches! That is not what I said. What the fuck? It's time to bring back Beautiful Joe. Even if it's just a no-frills HD port of the first game like I know you like to do sometimes. But if you want to be really cool, you can make a Capcom 5 compilation with the 5 totally not backpedaled at all exclusive GameCube games you made. Yes, that includes Piano 3. Or make the Capcom Clover collection with every game that came out of Clover Studios. Beautiful Joe is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up starring a Power Ranger fan with the abilities of a VCR, and I will not elaborate any further. There's still nothing quite like it due to
like those mechanics were really dope too. So the way his powers work, you could fast forward the VCR powers and handle a mob of enemies like really fast, or you could slow down the VCR, right? And all your hits are stronger. They have a powerful impact. You could punch a missile and it'll go back to the enemies, and the impact of the explosion will be that much greater. You know, the concept and the nah. The gimmick was cool. The gimmick was dope, bro. It's an interesting mechanic.
To its various unique mechanics and design, its stupid gorgeous cell shading, innovative gameplay, bright and colorful environments, and fun wacky characters, I'm confident it would be overwhelmingly appreciated these days. 2 games and 2 spin-offs, with the final one being released over 19...
Yeah, and they did, I forgot about that. They did have like a fighting game tournament with it too, and it was, I didn't own it. I remember playing it at a friend's house. I mean, it was cool. It was cool. They could easily bring Beautiful Joe back, bro. But they tried to do it with what was that Wonderful 101, whatever that was. I was like, oh, because when I first saw it, I thought this was like their revamp of the series, but no, I don't think it had anything to do with this. Bring this back.
Years ago. No excuse. Make something happen. Something beyond just another fucking cameo in a fighting game. Next up is... oh, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you for a second. I'm well beyond 4,000 words into the script right now, and I still haven't even reached the Mega Man section. Can I just skip Dark Void? It's The Rocketeer starring Nolan North and was peak 2010 Capcom. Do you really want that? Woof. I bought Zero when it came out, the 3DS 2D side-scrolling one, and thought it was okay. I'd say go buy it on Steam so you could try it for yourself. But Capcom literally just delisted it and the 3DS port off of Steam last month. So if you were a fan, I hate to say it, but Capcom is definitely not interested in bringing it back. Thank God for physical media and emulation though, right? Okay, how many games are left? Holy shit! You know what? This is gonna have to be a 2-parter. I'm sorry, but I probably got some stuff wrong anyway, so you could just make fun of me in the comments about missed release dates or something, or stuff I didn't talk about. But I still want to hear your takes. What's the one series you can't wait to finally receive a Capcom comeback? A Cap comeback? Huh.
Okay, see, he messed me up, because now I'm invested. I want to see more. Did he do the part 2 already? Aw, it doesn't look like he did. What was he what did this post? 12 days ago. Okay, so this is really recent. Wow. Okay. I guess we will be waiting for that part 2. So y'all want to thank Biggie again for that interesting video. That was pretty interesting to go over and think about. Like, yeah, Capcom is sitting on some very powerful hidden gems that could perhaps do them some justice in today's lineup of gaming. Bro, like, just for me personally, just off the strength of Onimusha and Dino Crisis and Breath of Fire alone, you got heat, bro. And Beautiful Joe, you got heat. But yay, let me know in the comments below, what are some Capcom titles or hidden gems that y'all think they could easily bring into the forefront and that they would dominate? They would flourish. Everything would be great. You know what I mean? Cause man, like I said, them titles he hit us with, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, easy. Especially with Breath of Fire. You could 2.5D that bad boy, and everybody would freaking flock and love it to death. But if you want to go the extra mile and HD remake it, would it be mad at that either? Just saying. But yo, this is how we're gonna end this thing, man. Y'all know how I ended. We out this peace, salute, deuces, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace. We out. Capcom.